Hi there, and thank you so much for tuning in. I am just about to watch the Jim Sinclair speech at Alberta's Independence Rally in Calgary at the end of January 2026. And in case you don't know, my name is Ashley. I'm a teacher. I have severe culture shock now that I've come back to Canada. I was in China for 10 years. I was learning about truth and reconciliation. I was learning about all sorts of things that did not relate when I came back to Canada, apparently. So I am trying to deal with my culture shock. I'm also just trying to share my education, my wisdom, my knowledge, and like how I get through the craziness that is North America, I guess. So this is what I'm about to do now. I'm going to go through the Jim Sinclair speech. I'm going to show my thought process, basically as a teacher who was in China for 10 years, dealing with culture shock and just processing all the thoughts that come through my mind. I'm hoping that this is going to also lead by example to show how everybody should be critically thinking. Because unfortunately, once we get out of high school and we get a job, we don't have time to stop and critically think about everything happening around us, right? We're on our phones, we're scrolling, and we're often getting one-sided stories. And so to me, it's very, very important that we question those one-sided stories and that we really know as much information as we can before we decide what is a truth, or before we decide that, what I saw in the media or on the TV or what I heard from my buddy at the convention is true. So, anyways, let's jump into it. I have not watched this yet. I'm going to share my screen and we're just going to watch it together. And I will just do what I would have done, let's say, in my classes with a movie or with anything. It's just how I teach, basically. So let's go. This one's only 7 minutes, so we'll see how long it takes us to get through it. I did another one. It was a 30-minute one. It was the Mitch Sylvester speech. You should check it out. It was a 30-minute or 40-minute speech, and it took me like an hour and a half to get through it. So let's hope it doesn't take that long. It really just depends on what they're saying, right? And what comes to my mind. So, anyways, here we go. Let's take a look.
You can always check out their resources. Again, a wonderful, wonderful plethora of resources up there.
I missed it. We didn't get it.
I'm going to now invite my first speaker, Mr. Jim Sinclair, up onto the stage. Jim Sinclair is a retired PPCLI corporal. He's a reservist with 33 years service, served in the Princess Patricia Canadian Light Infantry. He served with the Canadian Airborne Regiment 2 Commando, the Canadian Para Company, and the Royal Regina Rifles. He served in Croatia, Bosnia, and Afghanistan with 33 years experience. Jim will speak on the values this country was formed upon. Give him a big round of applause to thank him for his service.
Okay, so if you're like me and you didn't know who Jim Sinclair is and you only heard his name around, now you know he's a military man. He's been all around the world fighting for the rights and freedoms of Canadians. Or, fighting wars to gain resources from other people. Anyways, let's keep going. He's obviously respected. I mean, standing ovation, as he should be, right? I mean, he fought for the country when he thought he was doing what was right for the country.
You're already making it hard on me. Uh I get pretty emotional when
Emotional
see
bond.
what this Canada, what this group of people are actually trying to do. That was amazing. I appreciate the applause. 33 years ago when I joined the Army, if you would have asked me then if I'd be standing in front of a bunch of amazing people like you are, I wouldn't have believed I'd be here.
Notice like a bunch of amazing people, like he's riling them in, right? He's patting their ego. He's like, it's not a neutral speech, obviously. Let's keep going.
And I really feel everybody in this room 33 years ago probably didn't ever think our country would be in the situation it's in right now.
What's the situation? That we're not Trumperoonies? That we're not all chasing a dollar and filling our pockets and that we're just caring a little bit more. We have a little bit more humanity now that we have more education. Let's keep going. I'm not sure.
So as a young man, when I joined the army, it was it came to a point where I realized what my job was going to do. I had to do some soul searching to find a motive, a reason that I could take another person's life. And I was going to quit the army and just find another thing to do on the farm, like my mom wanted me to do. But I found my reason to put my life on the line and actually take other lives by the men and the women that were beside me. And that was why I stayed and made a career out of it. And I'd do it all over again.
That's the army mentality, though, right? Like once you get in there, that's what they teach you. So, okay, let's keep going. You did your job and you fell in line like you're supposed to with the army. I mean, we could agree to disagree on whether we should be going to war at all, but let's keep going.
So the values, like,
It's not the 1940s and 50s anymore, you know what I mean? Like we have access to education, we have access to the internet, we have access to all the same stuff if we all just shared. Anyways, let's keep going. They just don't like sharing. They're like children.
so the values that I learned as a young man in a community that was full of veterans from World War II, they stick with me to this day. And there's a picture that's, I think it's behind me or wherever it is.
I love the brotherhood that is being built here. But the flip side is the fixed mindset that is being built here. Like, it's like we were like this since World War II. We're not changing. We are sticking to mud, you know, we're loyal. We're exactly as we are. We're not gonna change. It's very fixed mindset to me. Very beautiful brotherhood, and they should be there for each other, and they only understand each other. Nobody can understand what it's like to go to war unless you've been to war, right? Nobody can understand the PTSD that you get from that unless you go and experience it. So I can thoroughly admit I would never, ever know what that PTSD is like. I can't imagine what it's like to be a jarhead or any extreme of in the army at all. So thoughts. Let's keep going, right? Now we're bonding over the values and the values of vets, but our values in 2026 shouldn't be the same values in the 1950s, right? In my opinion. Thoughts? Share. What do you think? I mean, I'd love to know if I'm the only one who thinks like this, you know what I mean? Okay, let's keep going.
Uh, there was a picture that was on the screen that showed me on top of a burning school in Afghanistan where they executed the girls that were going to that school.
Let's talk about the
we
Taliban.
we were in a position where we were going to be overrun, and I was fighting with the American Army at the time. And anyways, I didn't have a picture of me. If we were to get killed, they put it on the news. So I quickly took my helmet off, put on my beret. I was part of the Regina Rifles then, fighting with the Patricians. But like I said, we're attached to the Americans, and I asked the Americans
Attached to
take a
the
quick picture.
Americans. Did you hear that? Attached to the Americans. That's where all of our issues kind of stem from, in my opinion. Because to me, Canada is not supposed to be moving the same way the USA has been moving for the past how many years. We colonized differently. That's why they went south and we went north. You know what I mean? Again, that's me, my perspective, the way I learn my history. I know everybody learns history a little bit differently, and that again is why we need more than one-sided stories. Truth, transparency, that's what we need, and critical thinking, and no fear. Okay, let's keep going.
In case that was going to be my last day, and I wanted it.
Sorry, I also don't mean to like be disrespectful in any way where I keep interrupting this man's speech, right? But it's like that's the whole point of critical thinking. Now, normally if I was sitting in this room, I Well, I probably personally would still be talking out loud a little bit, but shouldn't be, right? Anyways, let's keep going. Time and place, right? Time and place for everything. And this is my time and place to critically think and question and whatever. So, okay, let's go. I don't want any haters up in the comments. That's why.
Show the people of Canada that I was determined to be there, and I was dying because I believed in this nation. And unfortunately, that's not what's going on here right now. And the values that our soldiers went and fought for in World War I and World War II, they're not represented in our country anymore.
What values were fought for in World War I and World War II that is not being represented anymore? Which ones exactly? And like, thank you for putting yourself on the line for Canada because you thought that was the right thing to do. But like, the flip side is if we all just stop being bullies and trying to take over everybody's stuff, we wouldn't have this problem. Okay, let's keep going.
Uh, I was also involved in an incident where in Croatia, I was involved in a mine incident where my sergeant was wounded. Um, Another man was killed instantly, and there was another engineer sergeant in that minefield. And when you enter a minefield, there's a process you're supposed to go through, and you find the mines, make a trail, and evacuate people safely. Well, the minefield started on fire, so that option was right out the window. And like I'm standing up here now, looking at all of you people, I was standing on top of a vehicle that was blowing up in the incident as well, and I was looking across this field, this really tall, high grass, and the death and destruction in front of me, and I was looking for my boss because I knew that guy was dead. And I saw my army partner stand up, and he was through this tall grass, and the only way to get to him before everybody burnt alive in the fire was to run through this minefield and pull out what I loved at that time was that man to get him out of there. And I ran into another guy while I was there. So it turned into a situation, but that's basically what's going on now is that we love a part of this country. We're running into a minefield that's on fire, and you don't know how you're going to do it, but through teamwork, you're going to get through this, and we're going to pull this off.
So pull off becoming independent. Again, it's all very vague, right? Like it's people are going to fill in the holes however they want, and they think they're all bonding over the same thing, but they're not because it's so vague. What values, what are we not doing in Canada that we should be doing other than trying to trample other people for their resources and take all the money for our pockets as much as possible? I just don't understand. I don't understand what these people are thinking because, yeah, I mean, we have education, we have internet, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of problems. We have a lot of problems, but everybody has problems. Every country has problems. Like, it's supposed to be continuous improvement, not like continuous capitalism and fill in your pockets, and bomb other people. Like that's so old school. Anyways, okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
And thank you. You're gonna hear lots of talk today about currency and money and the most important currency that we all have is the blood that courses through our veins. And that's the number one currency of a country. And that country, this country of Canada, the men that spilled that blood, the most valuable currency that we all have, that paid for this nation and paid for our values and our morals that we should be living by.
What morals? What morals are we talking about? Because you're the one who wants to like take everybody's money and like cut everybody off and keep it all for yourself and be a Trumper-rooney. You know that as Canadians, that's not our jazz, right? Also, like how about we use humanity as a currency? Because I think that's more like Canadian vibe. Humanity. Anyways, let's keep going. Blood. I'd like to keep my blood, thanks. I think everybody would, thanks. Oh, Jesus.
They're not there, and I hope to see that in a new free in Alberta.
Wow. Wow.
Anyways, I'm honored to be here. I won't take up any more of your time. I thank you very much, and I love you guys, and God bless.
Yeah, so that speech was to me a very good bonding moment for the people in the room, a very good story, a good way to make brotherhood. And again, I'm so sorry, but it feels so like Scientology or like culty to me. Like there's so much information that is missing. Like, for example, when you watch a TED Talk, right? Like you don't, oh, stop sharing, sorry. You don't hear them like be super vague. They fill in all the details, they make all the connections, everything is really clear. Whereas these are just not clear. And I know people are just gonna say, like, oh, you just don't get it. You just don't get it. Yeah, because you haven't explained it. It's like my high school students when they write me an essay and they think they're telling me something, and I'm like, but we just read this, and you're just telling me the exact same thing that you already told me, but you're actually not proving what you mean. That's what's happening here. Like, I can't be the only one that sees it, right? Is it just me? Am I the crazy one? Okay, anyways, I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, follow, share, do all that jazz. I don't know. And yeah, I will keep going and I will keep sharing. So, ciao for now.